Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning for the latest Coffee with the IA webinar series. We'll be joined by Dr. Florence Cassel Sharma, who is the winner of the Excellence in Education Award for the 2021 IA Awards. We're really pleased to have her join us this morning so we can hear more about her career helping students enter the irrigation industry. Next week, we will be joined by the Innovation Award winner. And finally, to wrap up our awards, or rather wrap up our Coffee with the IA session, we will be speaking with the new president, incoming president, John Newland. So we are halfway through the Coffee with the IA webinar series, and we're so pleased you're able to join us this morning. Before we move on and hear Dr. Cassel Sharma speak, we are proud to say that Hunter Senninger is a sponsor of the IA Awards program, and we have a short message from them before we move on.
Hi, thanks for joining us today. Despite the challenges of the past year, our commitment to innovation and customer support is stronger than ever. As a leading manufacturer of landscape irrigation and outdoor lighting solutions, we're working hard to meet the complex needs of today's market. To our valued customers and the industry at large, our partnership remains. While we can't connect face-to-face, we'll be with you every step of the way to provide the products, tools, and training you need to succeed. Thank you for supporting Hunter Industries and FX Luminaire.
Yeah, thank you to Hunter Senninger for being a sponsor of the IA Awards program. So over the past 20 years, in addition to being a role model for female students, Dr. Cassel Sharma has excelled in teaching, research, student advising, and leadership skills that has allowed her to be a beacon for her students interested in pursuing a successful career in irrigation and water conservation. She has demonstrated that she is truly dedicated to her students' success, incorporating a number of strategies to raise awareness of irrigation career opportunities. I know I'm excited to hear more about Dr. Cassel Sharma, and so without further ado, I will welcome IA's president, Brian Winan, to the screen, as well as the Excellence in Education Award winner, Dr. Florence Cassel Sharma. Good morning to each of you.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. And welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. I want to honestly welcome and congratulate on being awarded the Excellence in Education Award, Dr. Florence Sharma, and working currently and I think for about 20 years at Cal State. So welcome.
Thank you, Brian. I'm glad to be here.
Great, great. Now you've been teaching irrigation at Cal State for about 20 years. And you know, you've got quite a history. So what drew you to Cal State and Fresno and to irrigation in particular?
Yeah, well, it was, let's say, a long journey. So I come from an ag background. So I was raised, I was born in France. And so having this agricultural background, I knew that I wanted to pursue a career in agriculture. So I was not really too sure in which area. But after high school, then I enrolled in an ag engineering school in the western part of France. It's actually a region famous for its white wines, apple production, you know. And so we covered a wide range of courses. So I had a little bit of an insight into different areas of agriculture. And then during my fourth year, I had the opportunity to participate in an exchange program with a university in the US, actually the University of Wyoming. So I came here as an exchange student for about a semester. And so I took a variety of courses, and then I came to know several faculty in the Department of Plant and Soil Science. And then, so I got interested in some of the research they were doing, particularly related to irrigation. So then I finished my degree in France. I went back to France, finished my degree. And then after that, within half a year, came back to the US and joined the Department of Agronomy. It was Department of Agronomy at the time, at the University of Wyoming. And I started working on a project for my PhD that focus on the adoption of drip irrigation for row crops. And particularly over there, they are growing a lot of sugar beet. This is really the sugar beet area of the country. So this is, I really got involved into irrigation. I started taking a lot of classes related to water management and irrigation, and it really triggered my interest. And so this is, I haven't looked back really. So I continue once I got my PhD degree. Then, well, my husband got actually a position at the USDA in Fresno, and this is, we moved to Fresno, and then I got a reference from somebody at the USDA about the Center for Irrigation Technology. So I went to meet David Zoldowski, who was the director at the time, and then he hired me as a soil and water scientist at CIT, and so I worked with CIT for, well, I've been working for the past 20 years actually. And then about 10 years ago, I joined the Department of Plant Science, and I have been teaching also now irrigation and water management courses since about 2012. So this is how I got involved in, in irrigation. It was a long journey, but a nice one.
It sounds exciting. You know, last week we were interviewing Angela Macy, and his father had immigrated from Europe as well as mine has. So we're both firstborn. You're actually the first one to come into the country, which I cannot clearly understand. I know how people can move easy, but to move to another country is quite a challenge. And we're glad you did, obviously, because you brought so much to us now through CIT and through education. So.
Yeah, it was a great journey, but yeah, really, I'm really happy to be here.
It's great. Now, in the news, it's there all the time. People are trying to find people of qualified abilities to work in their industries, and the irrigation industry is no different. Through your education at Fresno, how do you encourage people, or one, to be part of the irrigation industry, and two, to join the irrigation industry and stay in it?
Yeah, so actually it's kind of a process that might take, let's say, several years. So first, I get students who are enrolled in a lower division course on agricultural water. This is one of the required courses for our major. So here you see students who just start their degrees. So they don't know too much about the importance of water management, particularly in agriculture. I teach in the College of Ag here at Fresno State. So it's kind of a process of teaching them the importance and getting them interested in the topic at first. And then after that, once they get some interest, some of them will get interested in the topic, and then they take the upper division courses that I teach on irrigation system and soil and water management, which is really an irrigation scheduling class. And during those times, in addition to, of course, teaching the course material, I expose the student to what the opportunities that the industry has to offer, and also the importance of water management for agriculture. So now so being located in Fresno, it's a huge advantage because we have many resources available to us. So of course there is the CIT, the Center for Irrigation Technology on campus. Then we have a large 1,000-acre farm where we basically grow all types of tree crops, vegetable crops, row crops, and irrigate those crops on the drip, overhead sprinkler, flood irrigation. So the students really get to learn what's being done in the industry. And then so this is really more like the academic hands-on experience to trigger the interest. And then also I expose students to some other opportunity, let's say any scholarships, conferences, seminar, field days, that the industry offers, or also other universities. We work with the University of California quite a bit. And so this is really some kind of the tool that I'm using to encourage students to kind of get interested. And sometimes it takes time, but I have seen a big change over the last 10 years, more and more people seeing the kind of the the need to be well educated in the area of irrigation and water management, and students are starting to take interest into this industry. So we work a lot we have a lot of local irrigation companies. So I take the student, for example, to visit the gel manufacturing plant that we have in Fresno. Then we worked a lot last week. You had Angelo Masi. So we work a lot with this company, is very supportive of our programs and of our students. Then I had some also people look at students work with our Toro, the drip system design. So kind of showing them what is the application of some of the topic that I'm teaching to the industry. And that's really, I think, important. And another part is really encouraging them and supporting them, you know. So like I said, attending all these field days, these conferences. I know several companies have put during the pandemic a lot of webinars on irrigation, and those are really great teaching tools, because the students really see the value of what I'm teaching. You know, it's really there is an application to it. And another part is let's say encouraging them to attend conferences sometimes, particularly for the grad students, you know, to present. If they work on a topic, when they work with me, it's of course irrigation related. So they present their research, and then they see the kind of sometimes the companies are interested and ask them to probably conduct an internship with them or maybe start working. And so that's really how I try to encourage the student and support them. But yeah, it's really great to be located in Fresno because there are a lot of resources for students.
Do you find a lot of your students are able to acquire jobs right out of school in the irrigation industry?
Yeah, well, let's say overall in agriculture, you know, and more I see that there is an irrigation component. So for example, I see a lot of students who they usually conduct an internship or they intern over the summer to get additional hands-on experiences. And so, for example, Wonderful. So a lot of our students intern with Wonderful. They have a program. And I have had several students in the past who specifically work on irrigation-related part of the commercial production. So I see this change occurring more and more. And now, as part of some of the students who are keen on getting their CCA license, and there is a big irrigation component to it nowadays. So yeah, I think there is I think there's change. And actually, something interesting is sometimes I have had students maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and then they contact me and saying, "Oh, we took your courses maybe 4 years ago, and we are now working. We have to design an irrigation system, or we have to be in charge of the scheduling on our farm. So can you help us, and can you send us the material that you taught us 4 or 5 years ago?" So that's I see that occurring more and more. So I have seen the change over the last 10 years. So I think it's quite encouraging.
That's great that you have that back and forth with your students even several years down the road. And I'm sure even further down the road, you're going to keep running into them and they're going to keep asking for advice. But that's fantastic. Now, is there more within the irrigation industry, such as the manufacturers, distributors level, that we can do to help promote the careers in irrigation?
Yeah, I think getting involved, I think so the internship it's a really good way to get students interested and involved, you know, with so providing some internship opportunities or scholarship opportunities. That's really, the students are always looking for, at least at Fresno State, they're always looking for gaining more experience. So that's a great way. Of course, we have a lot of career fairs, so I mean several during an academic year. So maybe participating in those. And then probably having a link, let's say, between, let's say, faculty and the students. So I could be kind of a guide to provide the information and what's available in the industry. And this is why I try to always, as part of my courses, kind of involve the industry in some of my teaching tools. And actually yesterday I just got an email from a company up north, and they were looking for somebody to do irrigation system design. So they sent us the announcement, and so I forwarded that to the department and to the resource center at the university. And so now hopefully some students are going to see the announcement and just take advantage of that position. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And currently you're the only female on the Fresno State Irrigation Student Club, the only female advisor, I should say. You know, can you tell us a little why you think it's so important in the irrigation industry and research to engage future female leaders in the underrepresented population? It's a male-dominated industry, and you know, we'd love to see that change a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, well, definitely too. Well, since you know we have more and more female students in our field, you know, the ag field, the engineering field. So it's good to see that they would be kind of more inclined to work in the irrigation industry. So this is why I'm trying to, when I teach my courses, I also try to tell particularly the female student that, okay, this is an industry for everyone and you can find your niche. You know? And particularly for us in ag science, we are more involved with the management aspect of irrigation versus, you know, like really the hardware engineering part. And I think it's a little bit more conducive to try to guide students in that area. So in the same way, when I see some of the students, like female students interested, I try to support them and provide them with some of the opportunities that are available and work with them. And probably myself being a female faculty, they think that, okay, it is possible. And so when I try to work with them and guide them. But overall, I have seen a change. When I started teaching, I rarely had any female students in my classes, particularly the upper level division classes, which are elective classes. And since I started teaching the lower division one, I'm trying to encourage all the students, including female students, to take those upper division courses. And I have seen a change. So now I have many more female students taking my classes. And I have seen that also at the graduate level. I actually now have more female students working on my research project than male students. So that has been a great change over the last, I think, 4 or 5 years. So I think the female students they see a little bit at a time, they see more and more female students being involved in that industry, and they see that they can do it too. So it's really helping. So I think it is slowly happening. It's still, the ratio is still kind of pretty large, but a little bit at a time. I think it's going to get there, and that's also applicable for other aspects of crop production. You know, not only irrigation.
Well, that's fantastic. And I know in the past years that you've been teaching, I know for myself as an employer, as younger people are coming out of college and we're getting them to have jobs, it's a different group almost every 5 to 7 years because of computerization, gaming, different things that students interact with. So how did you have to change, or how do you interact with students as you see this ever-changing landscape of how students are learning? And of course, obviously you went through the COVID period when things went remote, and how do you continue to, you know, exchange with the students, or had to change any of your practices to keep them engaged?
Well, I think nowadays students really want to get an education or take courses, or really the course content has to have an application. They just don't want to learn just the material, you know, the raw academic material. They want to see a value for them once they join the workforce. So really, and particularly for our students at Fresno State, they are really they like the applied teaching, hands-on experience. So I have to include that in my courses. So really, I have a part where I, of course, teach like the regular academic subject, but I have at least maybe half of my classes, which is, let's say, hands-on experience. We go to the, let's say we have the farm, so we go to the different field and orchard on the farm, looking at irrigation system, talking about pump efficiency. At CIT, we have this mobile pumping efficiency unit, so the students get to see the importance of looking at that aspect of irrigation. Involvement, so I invite guest lecturer to my classes. So of course, when we're in person, they come physically, but when we're online through Zoom, like we are doing now, so it's easy to have people to have basically professional from the industry participate and come and give guest lecture in classes. What I have done also, like I mentioned before, these different webinars. So some last semester or last year and last semester, I was very lucky because let's say CIT and PG&E put together all these lecture series on the various topics of irrigation, and it coincided with the time of my lectures. And so pretty much like every month, so with the class, we watched those lectures online, and after that we discuss, and there was a lot of interaction between the students and the presenters, and that's really, the students really enjoy that a lot. So a lot of interaction, and in general, they, like I mentioned before, they want to interact. A lot of students are asking me, for example, to volunteer at CIT now because they want to gain some experience and work on the ground. So that's really encouraging. So yeah, more, you see, applied teaching really.
Yeah. Well, I think that with CIT there and what you described with your 1,000-acre farm, the ability to combine hands-on with classroom work, with people, guest speakers and so forth, that's really got to be a great place to learn about irrigation at Fresno.
Yeah. And then the next step is also like, so sometimes they attend the conference, and like, for example, the IA show is a really great venue to really strike student interest. Every year we have several students applying for the program, and they participate. Many of them participate in the program, and when they go to the show, they are totally amazed at, I mean, what the industry can offer. And so being in the ag department, we are more focusing on this application, but when they go to the show, for example, they see that there is a totally another world related to landscaping as well, and they also get interested in that. And I think that's a wonderful opportunity for students going to the IA show, for example. Yeah.
And you do regularly nominate students for the E3 Learner Award, and you yourself received the E3 Leader Award in 2015. Tell us a bit why you think it's important for the students to get involved with the Irrigation Association activities.
Well, it's really to expose the student to the various opportunities, you know, that are available in the irrigation industry. And I think a lot of students, they like that for the networking. They have an interest in irrigation, but they don't necessarily know how to navigate or how to get in contact with some of these companies. And going to the show and having this interaction and seeing that the kind of the vast array of opportunities in the industry, it's really valuable. And in addition to that, they take the courses, and they also interact with students from other places, you know, from other states, and get a different perspective. And that's really, really important. So this program really brings it's of great value for the students, and they really enjoy it. Actually, yeah, there are several students who apply for the program, and they keep asking me, okay, when are we going to know if we get selected? And they're really looking forward to the IA show. So that's really great.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And hopefully we'll see them there at the show this year in San Diego. Now, just separate a little bit from that, you're working at the CIT, the Center for Irrigation Technology. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on over there?
Yeah, so yeah, I have been working at the center for about 20 years, and my area, I work mostly on the let's say more like the research division of CIT, and my projects are focusing mostly on looking at management practices and technology that will conserve water. Let's say trying to look at deficit drip irrigation, or looking also at cropping system that can be used to that are more like drought tolerant. Of course, in California, we're in a huge period of drought, and we are trying always to find ways to conserve water, either through the irrigation system, the way we schedule irrigation, but also the type of crops that we are growing. So ultimately, the management practices being more efficient in the way we are applying water. And when I joined CIT, I worked a lot on the salinity monitoring and salinity assessment on the west side of where we are located. We have a big salinity issue, and so I worked a lot with growers at the time to develop this salinity assessment program at CIT. And but overall is to look at new technologies. I'm looking at new technology and practices to overall conserve water and be more efficient in the way we apply water.
That's fantastic. It's fantastic. And not only do you participate with the IA, but were you part of writing some pages in the 6th edition of our irrigation book?
Yeah, we did that some years ago. Yeah.
Yep. I think Angelo Mazzi had mentioned that you were involved with that as well. So thank you for doing that. The book is a tremendous resource for many of us in the business. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, sure.
So we do have one question from the chat. It says, I believe CIT developed the Space Pro program for sprinkler performance. As designers, we use this program to evaluate sprinkler layouts with the densogram feature. And the chat is curious, what are CIT's plans for the Space Pro program and future updates?
I think I'm not too much involved in that part of the, well, I think it's to continue using the program, and there might be some update, and if I can find that information for you. I think Kate Norum is a good person to reach out, and also Charles Villiers, who is our new director, because I'm not so much involved in that part of CIT.
Okay, I just want to thank you again today for joining us and for us to learn a little bit about you, and we learned a lot about CIT and the educational aspect of irrigation. And so I just want to say thanks and congratulations, and I'm sure we'll see you in San Diego.
Yeah, I'll come to San Diego, and I want to, before we close, I want to thank, of course, the Irrigation Association for this award. No, it's a great honor to be recognized by the industry, and also, of course, a good part of my let's say my career is due to, I think, David Zoldowski, who's really hired me at CIT, and he has been a big influence and a big part of my success, I would say. And also the people who nominated me in my department, so Dr. Grahu, Dr. Benes, and Dr. Bushovan, who are always very, very supportive of my work. So thank you to everyone. So it's kind of, they're also part of this success,
Well, I can tell you that the nomination packet was just overflowingly, glowingly talking about the work you were doing both at CIT and Fresno State. So clearly you are having a positive impact on your students, on the university, and the industry as a whole. So congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
So
It was great to be with you guys today.
Yes, thank you everyone else who joined us this morning. Again, this is a series, and we have one more award winner next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll be pleased to welcome Reese Andrews with Lindsay as the Innovation Award. You can register. Your registration is good for this one as well as the next one. So we look forward to seeing you there, and thank you to each of you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.